Well, welcome to Your In Depth, where we walk through and break down our favorite fictional universes. As usual, I'm Jacob. I'm here joined by Evan. How you doing, buddy?
Hi.
Okay. Anyway, today we are going to be covering and starting our coverage of Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. So our second installment of that trilogy, we're starting today. Before we get started, Evan, you said that there was a little bit of Lord of the Rings news.
Yeah, I guess it's not so much as news. It's just kind of confirmed, kind of like a little extra information for us with
Okay.
the TV show that's coming out next year.
Mm-hmm.
And they've released quite a few, a list of quite a few actors and actresses and whatnot that are going to be appearing in that TV show. I mean, I've got a whole list here. There's 20 some odd of them right here, but I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to hit the ones that were given names of
Mm-hmm.
characters they'll be playing. So the first one, she's actually going to be playing Galadriel. So obviously, a younger version of Galadriel, from what we've seen in The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings thus far. That is Morfydd Clark. Um, and I'm just doing a quick check to see if she's appeared in anything that we might know of. I
Yeah,
mean,
like we
it
might
looks
know
like
her
a lot
from.
of smaller movies and less known stuff. I haven't even seen any of them that are in that little list for her. But yeah, she's playing as Galadriel. We then have Robert Aramayo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not, but he's playing a character named Beldor. I don't know any information on the rest of these characters that I'll be listing off. They're new characters to me. Um,
Oh,
but some people might recognize him from Game of Thrones. He played young Ned Stark, and some of the flashbacks that you get in Game of Thrones. He played. It's in the later seasons. If anybody wants to go and run through it again, it's in some of the later seasons of Game of Thrones where we see him. But he'll be playing the character, as I said, Beldor. The third one is Joseph Mawle, Mawle, however you pronounce that.
hmm.
He's going to be playing a character named Orin. And he too played in Game of Thrones. I'm trying to think of a big something that a lot of people would be able to recognize from. He played Benjen Stark in Game of Thrones, who we see in the first episode or two episodes of the series, and then later on down the line in the series.
Hmm.
Another one is Markella Kavanaugh. She's playing a character named Tyra, 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 something like that.
I've absolutely no idea. I
Yeah,
have no
I'm
idea,
not
bud.
sure either. And again, looking at some of the TV shows she's been in, again, it looks like a lot of smaller stuff, nothing that I've
Okay.
heard of before.
What a nobody.
Um,
I- I'm kidding. I'm looking
it
forward
says
to the
she's
series.
known for Romper Stomper from 2018. I've never heard of
There's
that
no
movie
way
or
that's a
movies.
real. There's no way that's real.
That's what it says.
Yeah, that's
That
probably
she
like
is
a
an
YouTube
actress known
movie.
for Romper Stomper
Yeah,
2018
that's
and then The Lord of the Rings 2022, which 2020.
well.
I'm assuming that's just since she's named as one of the actors in the show.
I see. Okay.
And the last one that they name, they actually give a
Oh.
character name for is for Simon Merrills is playing a character named Trevin.
Hmm.
Again, like I said, I have no idea. The only character that of this list that I know of is Galadriel. The rest of them I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
They're new
Yeah.
characters to me. He was in Nightfall, which is on Netflix. He was in Spartacus. And a couple others that I don't recognize these other ones, but he was in those two TV shows.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if he was a main character or side character or anything like that. I watched
Ah,
Nightfall. I don't really remember seeing him in that TV show, but
well, if
those are the two
anybody
shows he was in.
yeah, if anybody listening knows of those actors and stuff, that's where we're heading.
Yeah.
None of those characters mean anything to us right now. We have absolutely no idea, other than obviously Galadriel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And like I said, there was a list of like 20 different actors and
right.
actresses. And they've only given 5 character names so far within that list that I had pulled up. But as we get more information on that, obviously we'll let you guys
Yeah,
know.
we'll present it.
Any other characters that might be revealed to us beforehand, any of that type of stuff.
Well,
and I do just want to reiterate that is for the TV show coming out through Amazon.
Right.
Coming out next year. Just to reiterate that's what those characters are going to be in.
Well, do you want to provide a recap of the Fellowship of the Ring, as obviously be informative and recap, but also in
Not
as few
terribly
words
long.
as possible? Yes.
I will do my best.
Okay.
Just to do a recap of the whole movie, I'm going to try and do a kind of breeze over the whole movie.
Yeah, just breeze over it.
Very beginning of the film, we got the Battle of the Last Alliance between the men and elves and Sauron. We saw Isildur cut the ring off Sauron's hand and take it. He later gets killed in an orc ambush, which then the ring is down in that river, and no one sees it, hears of it for several thousands of years. Gollum finds it down there at the bottom of the river, and takes it into the Lonely Mountains, where he has it for roughly 500 years. Which case, again, in the movie, it tells us that Bilbo finds it after Gollum loses it in said cave, which we saw those events in The Hobbit. It then we go to the Shire with Bilbo's birthday, big celebration and whatnot. He uses the ring to kind of trick the crowd and whatnot, and that's when Gandalf realizes that there's more to this ring than he thought, goes and gets information on it. But the ring passes to Frodo. Frodo then meets with Gandalf later on, is told that he needs to take the ring to Rivendell. I guess Gandalf tells them to meet him at Bree, from which then they would go to Rivendell. Gandalf is taken prisoner by Saruman. They meet Strider or Aragorn and Bree, who then takes them to Rivendell. Along the way, Frodo gets stabbed with a Morgul blade by one of the ring wraiths, and they deal with all of that. Once they reach Rivendell, we get the Council of Elrond, where the Fellowship is formed with Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, Gimli, Boromir, Frodo, Sam, Pippin, and Merry. For which they then set out to Mount Doom to destroy the One Ring. Along their journeys, they pass through Moria, where we lose Gandalf as he, fights the Balrog, keeps it at bay while the rest of them escape. And they go to I'm drawing a blank on the name. It's Galadriel's city, into Lothlorien Woods. Wow. And they spend some time there. Galadriel gives each member of the Fellowship, besides Boromir, and technically Aragorn, gifts, because Aragorn, he has the necklace that he got from Arwen however long ago.
He's got something more valuable than she could give.
Yeah, and why Boromir didn't get anything, I don't know. From there, they set off on boats down the river Anduin, something like that, where they then beach, and they plan on crossing the river at nighttime to where orcs don't see them cross. But Boromir falls to the temptations of the ring and tries to take it from Frodo. Frodo escapes, and Boromir kind of comes to his senses right afterwards, realizing that he really messed up. At which point, Saruman's Uruk Hai, who he had sent after the Fellowship, finally catch up with them, and a battle ensues. We see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli basically carving through them like nothing. And we see Boromir, holding his own as well, defending Merry and Pippin as Frodo and Sam are escaping across the river. But Boromir's killed. He's shot by, in the movie, 3 arrows. In the book, it just says many arrows. And Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli kind of give him a send off, and then get ready to depart to go after the Uruk Hai who have taken Merry and Pippin after killing Boromir.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Frodo and Sam escape across the river, and the Fellowship has broken into 3 different groups. We have Frodo and Sam continuing their way to Mount Doom. Merry and Pippin, who have been captured by Uruk Hai, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli in pursuit of them, trying to rescue them.
Yep.
And
that's pretty well where we left off.
Yeah, that's where we left off. I think it shows Frodo and Sam up in the mountains somewhere, there at the end, where they first get their, they get their first glimpse of Mordor.
Yep.
But that's where that movie leaves off with, Fellowship broken apart, 2 members dead. Things not looking very good, honestly, for the Fellowship.
You say 2 members dead?
Yeah. Boromir and Gimli.
Who were the... Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
I had Boromir in my mind. I already forgot about Gandalf.
Yeah,
and that's possible, but all right.
And I don't know if people really recall or kind of think back on it, but when the Fellowship got to Galadriel and we're talking to her and whatnot, she had made one of the comments of like, the quest hangs on the edge of a knife, stray but a little, and it will fail. And personally, I see this whole splitting up of the Fellowship, members dying, that whole thing is like, they might have strayed a little bit.
Yeah. Anyway, we get that's our recap of Fellowship. Now we dive into the 2 towers.
And on YouTube here, I actually have a little bit of description for the 2 towers.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I know. I mean, we really haven't done it we didn't do it for the last movie, but I think it'd be.
No, we didn't. Usually we don't do that for movies. If you want to, that's fine. But I think that it's more.
Yeah, and it doesn't give any spoilers or anything like that, so it's not.
Yeah. All right, go ahead then.
It simply says Frodo Baggins and the other members of the Fellowship continue on their sacred quest to destroy the One Ring, but on separate paths. Their destinies lie at 2 towers: Orthanc Tower in Isengard, where the corrupt wizard Saruman awaits, and Sauron's fortress of Barad-dûr, deep within the Darklands of Mordor.
Okay.
So, the whole 2 towers title, a lot of people mistake that for those 2 like weird pegs at the very top of like Sauron's where the one eye is at.
Oh.
A lot of people mistake that for whatever reason, because like his tower comes up and then 2 pegs come up where the eye sits. Just to clarify, the 2 towers are Orthanc, Saruman's big tower thing.
Yeah.
And then Barad-dûr itself, Sauron's fortress. For clarifications before we even get into the movie, I wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting that people get that confused. Doesn't make any sense.
Well, and honestly, when I was younger, when I was watching the movies, like I didn't confuse those 2 little pegs for the 2 towers, but it never clicked in my head for the longest time that those were the 2 towers being referred to.
I can see that like being like, well, what are they referring to? But I can't picture it being like, oh, it's those 2 things. It's like that doesn't even make sense.
I don't know.
Anyway, so let's dive into it finally. We open a scene to this snowy mountainscape, and we kind of just get it's just kind of this scenery overview, this panning, this zooming, all this different stuff of just different scenes. We get a distant echo / kind of remembrance of Gandalf yelling, "You shall not pass," and all that when he was facing that Balrog. We zoom into a mountain and see that scene again, and we see Gandalf falling as he did. But this time we see him on his way down. And as he's falling, he's like kind of diving after his sword, and he grabs that, lands on the Balrog, and just continues to fight it as he's still falling.
And just to clarify too, this whole mountain range that's showing leading up to the scene, that is not the Misty Mountains, which
Hmm.
Moria is located in. I mean, for a lot of people, they watch me like, oh, nice, beautiful, snowy mountains, whatever. But that is Misty Mountains, so it is kind of like accurate uh, location or however you want to call
Okay.
it.
Yeah. But he slices and fights the Balrog as they fall, and they fall for a while.
Yeah,
But they eventually fall into this large cavern. It just kind of opens up, and there's a bunch of water at the bottom. They splash into that, and we cut to Frodo, who startles himself awake, saying Gandalf's name,
yeah.
and ends up saying he had a dream.
And
Bad dream,
so
basically.
with that scene as they're falling and whatnot, as we were told in the last movie, the dwarves delved, they mined too deep and they were too greedy with what wanting
Mm-hmm.
all their ores and stuff. Um, and so all of that, tunnel down and whatnot is not like the dwarves doing. They, obviously mountains have caverns and that type of stuff, and so they dug into a cavern. Just to clarify that, and that's part of said cavern they dug into. Um, and with that as well, in the second book, it is specified that down there where we see that water, that's kind of like the bottom of this planet, this Earth, this whatever you want to refer to it as. And there's um unnamed, unknown like beasts and hideous creatures that live down there.
Hmm.
And it is theorized that the Watcher in the Water, that big octopus thing from the first movie as they're entering Moria, is one of those.
Hmm.
That's not confirmed or anything like that, but it's theorized that it is one of those weird, disgusting, nameless creatures that live down there and somehow found its way up to the surface.
Interesting. I feel like their mine going down into that cavern is the equivalent of mining straight down in Minecraft and coming
Essentially,
across, you know.
it's like you're mining straight down in Minecraft, and you're like, "Oh, diamond! Oh, shoot, lava!"
Yeah,
Except
except
like
in this, it's just abyss and final water.
and in this, it's abyss, abyss into water, and big giant fire demon monster thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because with the dwarves, digging too deep, that's what had awoken the Balrog.
Yeah. But after Frodo says that he just had a dream, because Sam's right next to him, and he's like, looking at him like, what's wrong? And he says he just had a dream. We get the Two Towers title card. And then we see Sam and Frodo. They're descending down a mountain using that elvish rope. Sam is above Frodo, and he drops the little box like out of his pocket and yells for Frodo to catch it. Frodo does catch it, and as he does, he falls off of the mountain, and we cannot see the bottom underneath him. It's just fog. He falls about 10 feet and then hits the bottom. They were very close to it, but,
So this is actually extended edition stuff, too, this early in the movie, which is kind of weird.
It's kind of weird that it's that early and stuff, but really looking at the scene, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, there's a bit of kind of, you see a bit of character to Sam in this.
Yeah.
But it's not in any way necessary.
Yeah,
but,
it's nothing that's necessary. Like obviously some movies kind of have like that downtime scenes where like nothing's really happening. And this is kind of one of those scenes that they're like, we don't need this in there, for the theatric version.
Yeah, that makes sense. But
once they
Frodo, go ahead.
Yeah, once they reach the bottom, Frodo looks at the little box that had fallen, and Sam says it's seasoning from the Shire, which, like you said, we kind of see a little bit of character in Sam, wanting to have a little keepsake from home type of deal.
Yeah, it's basically the best salt in the Shire. It's seasoning for food. Frodo says that it's a little bit of home. They then grab the rope so that no one will follow them, and Sam kind of brags about his knot that he used to tie the rope, saying that it's very strong or whatever, and they kind of wiggle the rope and it just very easily comes down.
Yeah.
And Frodo just kind of remarks, it's real elvish rope.
Yeah,
and,
which I mean, from what we know of Sam, which is honestly not a whole lot as of right now, like,
Hmm.
we can kind of assume that Sam's pretty good at doing knots, kind of like his reaction, like, well, it's not going to come free that easily. Like, it's one of my knots. Like,
Yeah.
we can kind of make the assumption that he's pretty good at making knots and stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
he's
the
a
fact that
weebelo.
it just kind of, yeah. The fact that it just comes free so easily, especially after bearing both of their weight, coming down
Yeah.
that drop there, like, might be a little something something to this elvish rope.
Yeah. And I was kind of wondering, is that like a unique trait of that rope? Is that it's very strong, but also kind of reacts in that way to the user to where it's easy to use? Or is it
um,
just,
I
I
mean, I
don't
don't
know.
think there's really a whole lot of information on it. I would just assume that with it being elvish made, because as we've seen with like Frodo's, his sword, it glows blue. Elvish items and stuff like that kind of have a little bit of a magical
Well, and that's why I was
uh,
asking. Yeah.
tinge to them. And so I would just assume that it's some sort of something to do with the elves, so it has to be a little mystic or however you want to call it.
Yeah. But anyway, they proceed and they end up seeing Mordor in the distance again, a little bit closer, but not noticeably, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, they talk about how they're very lost. Frodo freaks out a little bit as he looks into Mordor, and he does see the Eye of Sauron. And I think Sam says something like, "It's the ring, isn't it?" And he's just kind of like,
yeah.
"Yeah."
And I'm
Um,
sure, as you've guessed, the whole Frodo seeing the Eye of Sauron is kind of like a recurring thing here.
yeah.
And I think it's more of just a reminder of like, hey, big bad's still around somewhere, type of thing. Like
Yeah.
like the big evil is still there, type of reminder to the viewers.
Yeah. Um, but they end up sitting, they rest, take inventory of what kind of food they have. And what they do have is elvish bread and bread. That's pretty well all they have for food.
Yeah,
Sam seems very kind of, he's very positive about that, and Frodo remarks like, nothing ever does dampen your spirits, does it, Sam? And he
yeah,
replies,
and
well, those rain clouds might.
that's another kind of recurring thing that we will see, especially now that Frodo and Sam are by themselves. Sam is kind of the rock that Frodo leans on. He always kind of tries to look for a little bit of tries to find the positive in their situation. It's kind of like a recurring thing for him.
Yeah, I wonder what that's like, having a positive friend.
Yeah, I know that must suck.
Yeah, I mean, you know what really gets me in a good mood and supports me? Calling you just to hear about suicide.
Well, tomato potato.
Anyway, um, yeah, so rain clouds are coming in. We cut to them being covered up in the pouring rain. Yeah, rain. And we see something watching them. It doesn't say it, but it's implied that it's Gollum. He's still following.
Yeah.
We then cut to the morning, and they are walking around. They find out they've been pretty well walking in circles. Like they're lost.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm not sure where they're at, on the map. Um, like what mountain range they might be on. Um, so I really couldn't be like, hey, if you look at a map, here it is, type of deal. But I just kind of get the
mhm.
feeling with where they are located. Wherever it is, I would assume it's very mazy and very, like kind of the path just kind of as close to a path as you can get, just kind of wraps in a circle type of deal. And like I said, I don't know a whole lot of where they're at in this scene, so I really couldn't say much on
Yeah.
it.
Well, I can tell you, Evan, I can take a good look at where they are at, because I found a website called the Lord of the Rings Project.com.
Oh yeah.
And what they have is an interactive map of Middle Earth. And what you can do is isolate paths to Thorin and Company, or Aragorn, Gandalf the Grey, spoiler name that I will not say, Frodo and Sam, so check mark.
What's it called?
And it'll show you Lord of the Ring project, LOTR project.com/map, but I'm going to send you the link. There you go. Um, but anyway, what you can do is click that, and you can see the beginning over in the Shire, and you can just follow a little path.
Hmm.
And you see they go through troll shaws. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
You see them
So
go over the mountains. You see Moria go over the Misty Mountains, Lorien, and just kind of down and along. Um, I'm getting the impression they're probably. I'm not seeing any landmarks. Are you there right now? Do you see it?
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to change it to Frodo and Sam.
Over to the right, there's little tabs. Just click paths.
Hmm.
Yeah. Where is that? I'm trying to. I see Mount Doom on the map,
Mm-hmm.
and I see him. I'm not seeing the black, like where they're going. I'm not seeing.
Hmm. Okay, so they're in Emin Muil,
Okay.
is where they are located at, right
Hmm.
there. Um, and if you remember back to the last movie, as Gimli is talking to Aragorn about the path they're gonna take, Gimli kind of mentions Emin Muil, and he says it's a labyrinth of razor sharp rocks.
Oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
All right.
So the troll shaw, which you were referring to, Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
um, if I'm not mistaken, that's after Bree but before Rivendell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
It's the
think.
forest right next to Rivendell.
Okay, yeah. So the troll shaws is kind of what the name says. It's kind of like some trolls there. So like um
Was
where
that
we
where?
see Bilbo's trolls, right?
Yeah.
Where we see those three, that's implied to be troll shaws. I'm not sure. I'm sure it's been confirmed whether it is or it is not.
Okay. Well,
But
anyway, we can
yeah.
move along. I was just trying to figure out. Yeah. That okay.
Hmm.
Anyway. Um.
But if you look at the map too, just real quick,
Sure.
if you look at
Yeah.
Frodo and Sam's path, when they're in Emyn Muil, they're
Mm-hmm.
really close to Mount Doom, right?
Yeah, they are. They're right.
Like
Like if
super
they were to
close.
go, yeah. No, they are. And
Um,
yep.
and so I was kind of saying when we were covering different parts of covering the last movie, most of the time jumps happen in Fellowship of the Ring. Because if we
Mm-hmm.
look at the map, it like Fellowship of the Ring is all the way from the Shire all the way
Oh yeah,
down to
to Emmenwell
just
because
to the
we,
left of Emyn Muil.
yeah, and that's. I
So
mean, I wish that this had units of measurement, but
yeah.
like it's a while. Like literally looking at just fractions of it.
Hmm.
Probably a good 4/5. I don't know. You know, 80% of their journey was up until this point covered in Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah. And so
But anyway,
and we'll see in the movies why like this short distance takes them so long, like takes 2 movies to cover.
yeah,
Um, but for timeline purposes, just kind of remember that the time period between them, Frodo and Sam and Emyn Muil, where they are right now with all the rocks and whatnot, to Mordor is not very long. It's only like maybe a couple of months, if that. Maybe a month, something. It's not a long amount of space of time whatsoever. Whereas the first part, which is all the Fellowship of the Ring, is several months, like 5 or 6 months at least, at a minimum.
gotcha. Okay,
Uh,
well let's get back into. I didn't want to
yeah,
detour too much, but I think it's something that. I mean, we are walking through and breaking down, so breaking down location stuff like that makes sense.
yeah.
But I don't want to spend too much time doing that.
Um,
But anyway,
and
they find out they've been going in circles. Frodo remarks that they're not alone. And there we are, 34 minutes in. We're done through my first page of notes. Anyway.
um, but so it jumps to nighttime, and it shows Frodo and Sam sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Gollum for the first time in Lord of the Rings, at least in the first time full view. As he's kind of climbing down a ledge there, as he's talking
Yeah, like
to
approaching
himself.
them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
talking to himself, calling them little, thieves, asking where the ring
Yep.
is at to him, obviously to himself, as he's
Mhm.
trying to sneak up on them.
Yeah, they stole his precious.
Yeah.
But as
But
Gollum gets
yeah,
close and reaches for them, they spring awake and pull Gollum down, fighting him. He tries to get the ring. They fight some more. This is more of an action scene again,
yeah,
so we're not like covering too much of it. We're just generic, whatever. But eventually, Frodo pulls out his sword, Sting. If we remember that one, and we've seen it because Frodo's had it a little
yeah.
bit now too.
And he pulls it out in reaction to Gollum getting behind Sam and like choking him / biting him.
Mhm.
And this is kind of like Frodo's last ditch attempt to save his friend.
Yeah. But he does that, threatening to slice his throat open.
Yeah.
We then kind of cut to morning as they decide to spare him. And they're pulling Gollum along via rope to the auction block. Wrong movie, never mind. They they allow Gollum to lead them into Mordor, though. They decide to trust him, make him. I don't know.
But as they're pulling him, though, he's like screaming and howling and complaining, saying that it's burning him and all this other kind of stuff. Which, as far as I know, Elvish rope does not burn you, but I could be wrong.
I think he's probably just being a little whiny boy.
But I mean, Sam does say they should just tie him up and leave him. Just leave him to die essentially. But Frodo, kind of feels some pity for him, kind of like what we saw with Bilbo in The Hobbit when he sees Gollum. Right before he rejoins the company, he has Sting up ready to kill him, and then he sees that sad face on or that sad look on Gollum's face. It's like feel sorry for him. Like I can't go through with it.
Yeah.
And Frodo has a similar reaction.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Soft-hearted little babies.
But Sam obviously doesn't trust Gollum. But they do allow him to help them because he has been captured and has been to
and
what was the prison? Where was that at? That was at
So that was at Barad-dûr.
Barad-dûr. There we go.
And not only has he been captured and taken prisoner there,
Mm-hmm.
Gollum has just been in Mordor before in general. Like he's traveled into Mordor before without being captured.
Oh.
Because I mean, from the point of Gollum losing the ring to Bilbo up until this point, like I've said before, it's been roughly 60 years. And so with Gollum really wanting to get the ring back, you'd think he would go just about anywhere to try and overhear any sort of information he can of where it might be.
Oh, that's
or
true.
where the Shire might be, anything like that.
Are you telling me though that Boromir was wrong, and it actually is okay? Like one does simply just walk into Mordor?
That's essentially what I'm saying. Yeah, one singular can simply walk into Mordor.
Oh, I'm glad he's dead.
Let me. I was not expecting
that. Anyway.
Oh boy.
So.
I just want to clarify though, Jacob. He does say not
What?
with 10,000 men could you walk into Mordor. I mean, he's not entirely wrong.
All right. Well, anyway, so they allow him to lead them. They follow Gollum along, heading towards the Black Gate.
Yeah, and
Gollum runs off, but ends up coming back and leads them along more.
So I do want to specify too, with them allowing him to lead them to the Black Gates, Frodo makes him swear on the ring, kind of like I swear on my mother type of thing, or like my mother's grave or however, It's kind of a similar thing. Like makes him swear on the ring itself that he's not going to trick them. He's going to actually lead them where they need to go. And it kind of gives the implication that if Gollum betrays this promise, like, the ring is going to do something bad to him. It's kind of the implication that it gives off, at least to me. Because Frodo says something along the lines of, like, the ring being treacherous and it'll hold Gollum to his word. Roughly something along those lines. He says something along those lines. Like I said, just implying that the ring itself will punish Gollum if he doesn't.
Yeah.
And that scene where he runs off, and then he he's like, "This way, hobbits," or whatever the heck he says. That's extended edition scene as well.
Yeah. We cut though to the band of Uruk Hai and orcs. It's kind of intermixed, ain't it?
So at first it's just Uruk Hai.
But they meet up with orcs.
Yeah, so it shows the band of Uruk Hai that attacked the Fellowship right there at the end of the last movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the leader of this band actually has a name as well. So, like in the last
orcs?
movie, we had Lurtz as the leader of this group of Uruk Hai. In the books, he's not a character in the books. It's kind of like for the movie, they wanted a named bad guy to die type of thing, like overcoming this bad guy. But the leader now, and in the books, the leader the whole time, is named Ugluk.
What?
Ugluk.
Can you do for me an impression of being waterboarded?
Ugluk.
All right, checks out. Same, but
it's like Ulguk.
Ugluk.
Ugluk.
I feel like, dude, that there is the verbal representation. What is that called? Isn't that like onomatopoeia or something, where it's like freaking like the verbal version of a sound?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Where like kind of like boom. So like the word itself is the noise that the sound like is what you hear when you hear the sound.
Siri, what is onomatopoeia? I want to make sure that's what it's called. A word that phonetically imitates, resembles, or suggests the sound that it describes. Boom. This
waterboard.
No. Better yet. You ever see that video of Squidward choking on a fork? That's what it is.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh my gosh, now I gotta look it up. I think I know the right name. But it's for the orc. Okay, there it is. Got it. So the Uruk Hai are traveling to take Merry and Pippin back to Saruman. Then we do see regular orcs kind of come out of some rocks out of hiding and join up with them. And the leader of the regular orcs that meets up with them, his name is Grishnak.
Grishnak?
Grishnak. Grishnak. And the second A the A has the little whatchamacallit little line above it, like angled above it. I don't know what that's called.
Sounds like it. Say that again.
Grishnak.
It sounds like a German lollipop.
So for name purposes, since I'm giving orc names, one of the other Uruk Hai that are with Ugluk and the Uruk Hai here, his name is Monhur.
Monhur?
Mahur. Monhur. There's a whole list.
Well, I don't care about them, to be honest. They all sound weird. But
another one in this company of Uruk Hai is Lugdush.
All right.
And there is one more name, but we see him later on in the movie, so I won't say his name now.
Okay.
Actually, I will.
Well, anyway.
He's with the orcs, and his name is Snaga.
Say it again.
Snaga.
Snaga?
Snaga.
Snagga. What's up, my snagga?
Snaga. Snaga.
Sounds like to me. Um.
Yeah, like I
All
said,
right.
there's a list here that has the different names for the different orcs, and it has like Azog and Bolg here as well from The Hobbit.
Hmm.
And then which one's this? Oh, that's it's a goblin that's we don't see in the movies.
Okay. Well, anyway, so we cut to them. We see them. Yeah, they're carrying Merry and Pippin. They're getting them to Saruman. We see Merry, and he looks like he's passed out. He's kind of got a gash on his forehead.
Yeah.
Pippin calls for some water to be given, says that he's, his friend is sick. So they come up and they pour some drought on
Some
him.
grog.
Some draught. What'd you say?
Grog.
Grog?
Grog.
Oh, well, I was wrong in that. It sounded different.
Yeah.
But anyway, they pour it on him and basically waterboard him.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
So grog is, for a little bit of info on it, I guess. It is an orc drink, orc/Uruk Hai drink. Like, only orcs and Uruk Hai drink it because it is disgusting. Like, I can only imagine, like, take expired milk and then put, like, black food coloring in it and then just let it sit for even longer. And I just have to imagine that's what this is. Except for the fact that it is very flammable as well.
Honestly, it looked like oil. I thought it was oil.
That's fairly close too. I don't know. I'm just talking in the terms of disgustingness to drink. Like I couldn't tell you what oil tastes like. I never drank oil.
Yeah.
But I have, like, being very sleepy and whatnot, go in and grab some milk to drink, and it's expired milk. You're like, oh god. Ugh. So that's kind of where I related that to.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's orc and Uruk Hai only drink, and I especially based off of Mary's reaction, I just have to imagine it's the most disgusting thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it is also very flammable. Like, you drop a little flame in there, and it, like, in a container of it, and it could, like, explode, type of deal.
Yeah, Molotov. All
More
right,
or less.
so Pippin calls for some water. Mary's basically waterboarded. Then he reveals that he was just kind of acting. He says he was. But the orcs / Uruk Hai pick up on man's scent and start picking up the pace as they catch on that Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are after, trailing them, trying to get their friends back.
No, it's a different one. Okay. Orcs and Uruk Hai do have the ability to smell men. Like, they can smell when a human or an elf or a dwarf is close. Kind of one of their heightened senses, their sense of smell. So that's not just like a oh, they're just throwing that in there just because, like these creatures in this universe do have that ability. Like, they can smell when something or someone is relatively close.
Gotcha.
That is an actual thing.
Yeah. But as they're picking up the pace, Pippin uses his mouth to kind of loosen that leaf pin that's holding his cloak, to drop it and leave it as a clue. We then cut to Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, and they run along after them, tracking this pack.
Yeah, and
fun fact. Sorry, I'll say that here in a minute. Oh, fun fact, by the way. The helmet that Gimli is wearing. Have you noticed that this is the same one they ended up using for Gloin?
Yep.
It's he's wearing his father's helmet.
Yeah.
Thought that was pretty cool.
Also, through these scenes here where we see Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli hunting the Uruk Hai, I'm trying to think of the specifics. The actor that plays Gimli is actually going through this and running through this wilderness with a dislocated knee. And I think Orlando Bloom had broken ribs. I could be mistaken on that.
I did see something
but two of them are
injured.
injured. Like, the actors themselves are injured as they're running, as the actual actors are running through all of this different hilly landscape. Like, the actors themselves are injured, just putting up with it, just trudging along.
Jeez. But
And then
yeah.
with Viggo Mortensen, who plays Aragorn, for those that are not aware, um, one of the cool little things with him, the actor himself, when they were not shooting, if they had to move to a different location, he would actually hike to those locations in his costume for Aragorn to give it that worn out ranger traveling everywhere, sleeps in the dirt type of look to it, you know.
Hmm.
So he would actually wear that whole outfit with the sword, which was an actual like proper sword with like a blunt edge, you know, but actual weight and everything to it as well. All that kind of stuff. He actually wore all of that to the different sites to give it that ranger look to it, you know.
Hmm.
And then this is kind of going to the first movie, but I think it's a cool little, you know, kind of side thing. When it shows that scene where the Fellowship's going up into the mountains, the snowy mountains and whatnot. Can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name now, but the actor that plays Boromir refused to take the helicopter that went up there because he doesn't like helicopters, and hiked up there into the mountain to go shoot the scenes up there. But
So moving along.
yeah. Anyways, back to Two Towers.
Yep.
Just cool little
So
facts and stuff.
Gimli falls behind a bit. He's constantly struggling, and he remarks that dwarves are natural sprinters, deadly at short range, as they're running a lot. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli look over this land as they come across it and comment that it is Rohan. They comment that the Uruks are taking Merry and Pippin to Isengard, or Saruman, his place. And we do cut to Saruman, and he's talking.
Before we do,
sure.
They do actually find that leaf, that little pin that Pippin had dropped. As they're going along, you know, following the Uruk Hai's trail, they do see that elvish, that leaf pin that Pippin dropped, and Aragorn kind of takes it as a sign of them still being alive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he kind of makes a comment of like, not idly do the leaves of Lorien fall. So kind of like there's no way this just accidentally landed here, you know, type of thing. Like Merry or Pippin had to specifically like do something to make that fall off of their person. Again, kind of going to the whole elvish, a little bit of mystic, whatever the heck you want to call it, to their items and whatnot.
Yeah. We cut to Saruman, though. He's talking about ruling Middle Earth alongside Sauron, joining the Two Towers. Obviously, we've talked the tower that Saruman has, which is titled what?
Orthanc.
And then the tower that has the eye of Sauron at the top,
which is the Fortress of Barad-dûr.
Yeah,
the tower up there. And I do want to clarify. I think I've said it before. Per the movies, we get the impression that Saruman wants to rule alongside Sauron. You have a bug on your mic, by the way. Right there in the very bottom of it. Dead bottom of it, like dead center bottom. But in this movie specifically, we get the impression from Saruman that he wants to rule alongside Sauron. You know, wants to rule with him. But the books do give us some clarification that Saruman does not want to rule with Sauron. Saruman wants to get the ring for himself and then take out Sauron. Jacob's killing himself with Adidas body spray as he's dealing with the stink bug.
Sorry, I thought so. I had. Where did it go? Hold
on. But yeah, Saruman wants to get the One Ring, get all the power that comes with it, and then essentially take out Sauron and rule everything himself instead of actually, you know, kind of like sharing the throne with Sauron. Um, well, like I said, that's something that's given to us in the books and not so much in the movies.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm very distracted. To give a
Yeah.
little bit of information as to what was going on, yes, there was a bug on the bottom of my mic. I smacked it and then tried spraying it with some Axe body spray to see if that would kill it. And it immobilized it a little bit, so I got cocky and sprayed it more, therefore gassing myself out. And then it started moving again, so I swiped it. Now I can't find it.
Continuing on with the movie.
Low-key kind of nervous where that ended up, but yes.
Saruman kind of gives his little dialogue of ruling with Sauron, with the union of the two towers. And it kind of flashes through the Palantir, which is the little ball that Saruman uses to communicate with Sauron. And we can see, if you really look, it's kind of hard to make out, honestly. But you can see troops moving, because it cuts to Barad-dûr as it zooms into Barad-dûr. You can see orcs moving out and kind of rank and file, kind of like they're on their way to war. They're on their way to attack someplace. So Sauron is mobilizing his troops, and we can only assume that Saruman is doing the same.
Well, we do see that he is, or was this was at Barad-dûr where we see all this, right?
This was at Barad-dûr where we see all the troops marching out, and then it comes up. Gives us kind of a slow pan of Barad-dûr all the way up to the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, and but yeah, we see more mud babies being born. We see that the Uruks are emerging from the mud. They are inspected and then moved along.
Yeah.
Saruman talks about the world burning with industry, basically saying we're gonna mass produce warriors.
I was just say because we do see through this as well. We see a bunch of orcs up there chopping down all the trees and whatnot that surrounded Saruman's tower, fueling his industry to make Uruk Hai. Which again, it still really bothers me that it doesn't really give us hey, this is why Uruk Hai come out of the ground.
Yeah, that'd be kind of a cool explanation because that's weird.
Yeah.
But
we still don't get that. But
yeah, Saruman commands that they burn the forest of Fangorn.
Yeah.
And then we cut ahead to
before we cut ahead.
Okay.
So we are just told of the forest of Fangorn. Without giving too much, because we really haven't. We've literally just been told about it. The Forest of Fangorn is an old forest. It's ancient, like been around forever type of deal. The forest has been there for a long time type of deal. And so there's a lot of within the world of Middle Earth. There's a lot of stories and stuff like that about the Forest of Fangorn of weird, magical, mystic, strange things happening in there. Noises, that type of stuff. So it's kind of like that. Kind of think like the Forbidden Forest in Harry Potter. Like, people are very wary of it. They don't want to go there. It's got a very strange, if not bad, kind of annotation that comes along with it. I don't know if annotation is the right word. Like strange presence to it. So, like I said, kind of the misgivings and the wariness that we see in like the Harry Potter movies about the forest there is very similar to the type of feelings and stuff like that people have about Fangorn.
Gotcha. But there's this new type of people. These people, I don't know what they are. Kind of seem to be men, but pledging allegiance to Saruman.
Yes. So these men are from the lands of Dunlin, which I'll try and if you look at the map of Middle Earth and you locate Orthanc, which is Saruman's tower and whatnot, and you look just to the left of that, of Saruman's tower, Um,
Mm-hmm.
you look to the left of that and up the Misty Mountain Range a little bit, about halfway between Orthanc or between Isengard and Moria. You'll see the land of Dunlin.
Yeah.
It is technically part of the Kingdom of Rohan. Um,
It's near
yeah,
Rohan.
it's technically part of the Kingdom of Rohan. But it's like the backwoods, the people like the I don't know what I'm trying to think of the right word for it. But it's
Alabama
basically
of
been
them.
neglected by Rohan. Like people don't really go there anymore. There's not a lot of trade that goes through there, so the people are struggling. And
Okay.
with that, when people struggle, they typically blame their leaders. So the people of Dunlin blame the leaders of Rohan for their struggles. So they turn to Saruman and Isengard
Yeah.
to kind of fix that with a not too little bit of trickery from Saruman himself. Saruman, I'll just say it. Saruman plays a very heavy hand of why Dunlin is not doing well.
Hmm.
It's not showed in the movies, but he has he's a big part using his magic and whatnot that he does. He's a very big part of why Dunlin is doing very bad. Basically, he's tricking them into thinking that Rohan has basically just forgotten about them.
Yeah.
And so they will turn to him looking for a better alternative type of deal.
Yeah. But we see this group, and I want to say there's some Uruk Hai mixed in, but this large.
As Saruman's talking to him, they have the torches and everything, right? That is all people from Dunlin.
That's not. I skipped that part, but that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it shows Saruman kind of giving a speech to some of the people of Dunlin, and he says like the horsemen took your lands, drove your people into the hills to scavenge off living rock or live scavenging off of rocks. Basically saying like the people of Rohan are why you guys are struggling. And like at this point, Dunlin's kind of like, we're not going to be part of Rohan anymore because they've left us, they've abandoned us, type of deal, and Saruman essentially tells him to go take back the lands that Rohan took from them to reclaim their homeland, type of deal, and basically Saruman gets the Dunlenders on his side, and then sends them to raid and pillage and all that kind of stuff that goes with the different villages and whatnot of Rohan. Kind of like turn the people against their king because he can't protect them type of deal, while also killing them and raiding and all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like think of like Vikings and how they
Yeah.
go and destroy villages and stuff, and that is what the Dunland people are doing to the rest of Rohan. Across a lot of Rohan. The parts that are further east, they don't really get to, but Saruman uses his Uruk Hai for those parts.
Okay. But we do see the large group march on different areas of Rohan.
Yeah.
And we see some village people fleeing. A woman sends her children to ride on a horse to go sound an alarm.
So I'm assuming this is a large group you were referring to, right?
Yeah.
So this is Dunlenders and Uruk Hai mix.
Yeah.
But mainly Dunlenders with some Uruk Hai. Dunlenders are basically think of like farmers and whatnot, right? In terms of fighting skill, and then you have the Uruk Hai who are more organized, more savage, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So just maximizing the damage.
Yeah, but they're slaughtering the village, burning it. Saruman says, we kind of hear his voice, says that Rohan is ready to fall.
And
we then...
So, one thing it really doesn't tell us, the movies don't, Saruman has been doing this stuff to Rohan for a while. Like, this isn't like just now everybody's, like, Rohan's getting attacked. Saruman has been attacking Rohan for a while under the guise of Mordor, sending plain old orcs out, and then with the Dunlands the people of Dunlin as well. Like, this is something that's been happening for a while, and this is just one specific instance that it's showing. So, like, this is not. I just to clarify, like, it's not like a surprise attack out of nowhere. Like, it's a recurring thing.
In comes some men, though. We switched scenes, and they're searching the bodies of some warriors, and they're looking for the king's son.
Yes.
They are led by Lord Eomer.
Yeah, so this whole part right here, where
Mhm.
they're searching the bodies, this is all extended edition.
Oh, okay.
And this is a whole new scene too. It's not part of that whole village scene where the people are fleeing and the woman sends her 2 kids to raise the alarm. This is actually the battle of I think it's the Fords of Isen, which is a river that runs down from Isengard down through Rohan. Actually a very big, like, we don't really get to see how big it really was, but this was a major battle where Rohan loses a lot of its troops. And as Eomer, like you said, Eomer is leading this search party, searching for the king's son, who his name is Theodred, who actually led this attack or led this defense of the Fords of Isen as Saruman is attacking. And it's a bloody battle that lasted for days. Like I said, a lot of Rohan's warriors and whatnot are killed here. This battle, honestly, single-handedly weakens Rohan severely with how many troops Rohan actually loses here. Especially with them losing, their prince as well. Because as we see, as it goes through the scene, one of the Rohan soldiers picks up a helmet, kind of blaming Mordor, but then we see the white hand of Saruman, verifying for us or telling us that this is Saruman's work, not Sauron's. And they find Theodred, the king's son, who is severely injured. He's still alive, but he is, like, mortally wounded.
Still alive, but I'm barely breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's clinging.
He's clinging to the last threads of life here. And if I'm not mistaken, Rohan actually wins that battle. They actually push Isengard back. But like I said, at the cost of a lot of soldiers. And that's why, Eomer can go there with his troops and look for Theodred.
Yeah.
And this is a little premature, but Eomer is actually Theodred's cousin.
Yeah, it ends up saying that.
Yeah,
so
it tells us not too long after, but he is Theodred's cousin, and Theodred is the only child to the King of Rohan. So, like, this basically leaves Eomer as next in line to the throne of Rohan.
Yeah. But they ride back to the castle and take him with. We cut to a scene where he's laying down and Eomer comes in and he's not doing good. Theodred has a sister. No, this is Eomer's sister, ain't it?
Yes. So we have Theodred, who's laying on the bed, mortally wounded. We have Eomer, who's still in his armor and whatnot, and then we have Eowyn, which is Eomer's sister.
Yeah.
So they're both niece and nephew to the king.
Right. But she comes in and looks, and he shows what I assume to be a wound that's, like, horrible. And we're kind of like, he's not like a
really brutal and severe wound to his. I would from the looks of it looks like mid chest. I guess like mid chest. That's like right here in the between the your pecs, but like right there as the stomach goes into the chest, like right along those lines, like kind of like lower lungs area.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what it
Either
looks
way,
like from what we can see. We don't really get to see the wound itself.
Doesn't look good though. We then see the king, who is very old and frail and looking to be out of it.
Yeah.
Éomer informs the king that the king and his old Alfred-looking wretched hobgoblin of a servant, that orcs are bearing the white hand of Saruman that are attacking. They have on their helmets are a white hand, which is signifying that that's where their allegiance lies.
Yeah, and the king's underling, his little, what did you call him?
Well, I have him called 3 different things in my notes, but the first one was an Alfred-looking wretched hobgoblin of a servant.
Yes, so his name is Grima. To give a name to him, his name is Grima. And he does say that Saruman the White has been their friend and ally. Like, no, that's not true. He's our friend. He's not doing this. Shut up.
Yeah, pretty much.
And more or less, it kind of seems like he's heavily influencing the king. Yeah. Like, as he's there, he comes right up to the king's side, and the king kind of like leans over and whispers to him. Like, I get the feeling from just seeing the scene of like the king is so old and so frail and whatnot that he just can't rule, and so Grima is essentially ruling in his stead, but not doing what the king says. The king would say like,
"No,
hey, go send troops over there," and Grima would be like, "Keep the troops in the castle."
Yeah,
like doing whatever he wants, type of thing.
Yeah, and this person, as you said, Grima, I think. I've also referred to him as a meth-riddled Professor Snape, as well as also inner city school teacher Snape. That being said, inner city school teacher probably isn't all that bad, but let's say ones that like
the nasty, creepy, like
drugs, like the
tries to sniff the children as they walk by.
Yeah, but anyway, Éomer gets a bit rough with him, pushes him up against the wall, and basically like, how long has it been since Saruman bought you? Like, why are you defending him? All this stuff. He accuses him of this, and then he looks aside at this guy. What is his name?
Grima.
Grima looks aside to Éomer's sister, and basically just Éomer is like, you've looked on her too long, basically being like, dude, you're creeping on her. There's so many things wrong with you.
And so basically what we get here, the information given to us, is that Grima is on the payroll of Saruman, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's doing what Saruman wants him to do, which is weaken Rohan. Which, by influencing the king or, taking what the king says and saying the complete opposite, whatever he's doing, is working. He does also, tell Éomer that he's warmongering, like seeking war, seeking battles, finding any reason to go fight type of deal. But he's also trying to, more or less trying to hook up with Éowyn, Éomer's sister. Like he's got feelings for her, but he's that weird, creepy guy in the corner that doesn't know what to do with it, and so he just stares.
Yeah.
It is essentially what's going on here.
Yeah. But Éomer gets banished. Apparently the king signed it that morning, but like we see the signature in it.
So
by the way, so he gets banished from the kingdom.
Yeah, Grima shows a royal decree, which it is signed by the king. It has to be, type of deal. Like you can't, you can look at someone's signature and be like, that's that person's signature, type of deal. And it does have the seal of the king on it as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Again, verifying that this is an order directly from the king. Again, showing how much Grima is influencing the king. Because, this is one of those things where, like, Grima can't sign it himself. Grima has to have the king sign it. Grima has to have the king put his seal on this paper. That's not something Grima can just forge.
Yeah.
So, like, Grima has enough power within Rohan to heavily influence things to the point where he gets the king to banish his own nephew. And Éomer is what's known as the field marshal, the third field marshal of Rohan. So like the third of that position, which is like he's in charge of Rohan's armies.
Hmm.
So like he is the general in charge of all troop movements and all that kind of stuff. So that alone shows that the king has great trust in him. So the fact that Grima can get him banished this easily is sending up warning signs.
Yeah. But then we cut away to some plains, and we see Uruk's running along. Aragorn and the other two are following.
Yeah.
Gimli is struggling to keep up and is telling himself to keep breathing. He's kind of like self-reassuring, like,
Per
just
usual.
keep breathing.
Because, I mean, all these scenes where we see the three of them running after the Uruk Hai, Gimli's way in the back, breathing heavily, dying.
Yeah. But we cut to nightfall, and the Uruks have stopped for the night and are trying to start a fire. And also, if anybody's noticing that sometimes we're referring to them as Uruk Hai, and other times it's Uruks. Uruk Hai are the plural of Uruk, but also Uruks is kind of the same. Legolas at one point refers to them as Uruks, and it's just kind of, either for that.
Unless you get into the lore and all that kind of stuff, Uruk or Uruk Hai works. Per the lore, quote unquote, right? Uruks and these Uruk Hai are different creatures. Or Uruks, per the lore and everything, are the bigger, stronger, more aggressive orcs in Mordor. And then these are just Uruk Hai. That's if you're really trying to get to the specifics, if you want the specific terminology every time, type of deal. But
gotcha.
I mean, whenever one of us says Uruks or Uruk Hai, we're referring to these, Saruman's troops.
Yeah.
For anybody that's, lore savvy or whatnot, we're referring to Saruman's troops when either of us says Uruk or Uruk Hai.
Yeah.
Just to specify.
Yeah. But anyway, they have stopped for the night and they're trying to start a fire. Merry comments to Pippin that they should have not left the Shire. We also see that some of the Uruks are cutting down trees for a fire.
Yeah.
As they're doing this, you do hear kind of this groaning noise that echoes in the night.
Yeah. And
yeah.
In this scene as well, it shows one of the orcs specifically. It shows one of them like demanding that they stop because they need a breather, they need to rest. And because when you compare orcs and Uruk Hai, specifically here with the ones that Saruman has, orcs are they don't have as much endurance, they're not as strong, all that kind of stuff. So like,
the
look
orcs
at them.
Need
they're
all disfigured, and these freaking Uruks are like big jacked Jamaican dudes.
Yeah, and so like. The Uruk Hai are, they're breathing heavy and whatnot. They're getting tired and stuff. But like the way that they are bred and whatnot, like they could keep going. Like the Uruk Hai could probably reach Isengard pretty soon if they wanted to, but the orcs are slowing them down.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, we hear, we can kind of hear some noises in the background. Kind of sounds like groaning, creaking type noises.
And Pippin asks what the noise is, and Merry says it's the trees. There's kind of the legend where it's like they're lively. The trees got memories and like speak even. And
Merry does say as well. He says, as he's referring to those stories, he says, "Do you remember the old forest on the borders of Buckland?" And if I look on the map. I'm just pulling it up real quick because I didn't think Buckland was all the way over there. Regardless, like I was saying earlier, because we do get the name of where they're at. These like stories have been told about Fangorn, which is where they're at. They're on the outskirts of Fangorn, and we do get told that in the next like couple minutes of the movie. This is just kind of to reinforce, like, even all the way in the Shire, they hear stories about this weird old forest. You know.
Yeah. But the Uruks are talking about eating, and one of the orcs suggests that they eat the two hobbits. Says that they could eat their legs, and the orcs want that. The Uruk are saying no.
Well, and because one
saying
of them even says something like they've had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 days. Like, ew, no. I'm sorry, if that was me, I'd be like, let's eat the legs. Let's eat the legs because I cannot imagine maggoty bread tastes very good. Like,
no,
it cannot be very.
No, that sounds disgusting.
And the one that says that, where he says, I'm starving. We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. That was the one that I referred to, one of the Uruk Hai that I gave the name of Mahur. Or however I pronounced that before. Yeah, that's him. I don't know why they gave him a name, why he was given a name out of all of the Uruk Hai and whatnot there, but he was given a name.
But they say that they need to remain intact for Saruman because the hobbits have an elvish thing that Saruman wants for the war.
Yeah.
And Merry and Pippin kind of piece that together. They're like, they think we have the ring. And I mean, basically they're like, but we can't really tell. It's like, nobody tell them that.
Yeah.
We're dead, you know?
Yeah, because Ugluk even says that Saruman wants him alive and unspoiled. So alive and unharmed, you know?
Right.
As he's saying that to the orc leader that met up with the Uruk Hai, Grishnak, that disgusting thing. And we see some tension start to break out in this group of orcs and Uruk Hai.
Yeah. And one of the orcs even tries to sneak up behind the hobbits, and as they decide to eat, but then the Uruk kills. Sorry, I skipped lines. The Uruk kills that orc, slicing off his head.
So Ugluk, just because I like to give names to them, right, as we talk about them. Ugluk, the leader, the one that's been like, you know, they have to go alive and unspoiled, all that kind of stuff. The one that's been talking. He cuts off that orc's head, and that orc is the one where I was like, one of the orcs in this group. That orc is Snaga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that weird, like, kind of bluish looking orc for whatever reason, kind of, you know, in the moonlight. That's Snaga. And again, I don't know why they gave him specifically a name. He gets his head cut off, and that's about all you see of him. Yeah. But they did.
Well, anyway, then as that orc is laying there dead, he exclaims, "Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys." Basically being like, let's eat him.
And not only are they just eating him, the Uruk Hai start killing the orcs to eat the orcs. And I don't know if that is considered cannibalism.
I mean, they're kind of different, right?
Because the Uruk Hai are an off-breed of orcs.
Yeah, it's
the
like
Uruk Hai are
monkey,
orcs mixed
right?
with, I think that's orcs mixed with goblin men or something like that. Whatever Saruman said in the last movie.
I retract my thing then, my analogy.
So I don't know if this constitutes cannibalism. I think it's pretty close.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, they decide to eat and do all that. Then, they start, like, fighting a bit. One of the orcs is, like, approaching, trying to eat the two hobbits again.
Yeah, because they started crawling away, trying to escape in the confusion.
But then
and this is Grishnak.
Oh,
that's going after Merry and Pippin.
And then
again,
I
like to use the names. I'm sorry.
Yeah. This group of Uruk Hai and orcs are attacked by men, and then we cut away as this is going on.
Yeah, if you really look closely, though, you can identify the men as Rohan, Riders of Rohan. And we see, because we see a spear hit Grishnak's back as he's trying to get Merry and Pippin. as he like grabs him like you're not escaping, and then it gets hit in the back by a spear.
Hmm.
And then the men come in from both sides and start cutting them down with relative ease. It even shows one Rohan rider shooting a bow from horseback. Um, and then we see Pippin laying on the ground as he kind of turns over and screams as we see a horse's front legs come down. And
Hmm.
it's almost like they try and give the implication of Pippin getting trampled,
Yeah.
but they don't actually show it. So
Right. But then we cut to Aragorn and company, which is just Legolas and Gimli, but it's easier to say company. Legolas comments that the red sun rises as it is morning now, indicating that blood was being spilled that night.
yeah,
Um,
and because within the world of Lord of the Rings or within Middle Earth, things that happen in nature, they take them as signs. Just like how I was saying when we were talking about Boromir having that dream at the Council of Elrond, they put heavy emphasis on dreams. So like this as well, they put heavy emphasis in natural signs and like natural occurrences. So like the sky looking red as the sun's starting to come up. That's a sign to them. They see that as a battle happened, or whether it be a slaughter or an actual battle, like people have died, blood has been spilled, something has happened, type of thing. They put a lot of stock into dreams and natural occurrences and stuff like that.
mhm. But they notice a group of horsemen riding in and past them. Aragorn shouts after them, referring to them as Riders of Rohan. These riders then come in and surround them, aiming their spears at them.
Yeah.
Éomer is there and asks their business.
So with these riders too, it cracks me up because when they were filming this scene and a lot of the different scenes that we see with the Riders of Rohan, obviously they need experienced horse riders for these scenes, and they couldn't find enough men, so they found a lot of women that were experienced horse riders. So they brought them in and they gave them fake beards and got them all grimed up and whatnot. And so the
Interesting.
majority of Riders of Rohan that we see in the movie are actually women disguised as men because they couldn't find enough men for these scenes. And
Huh.
Viggo Mortensen actually had a thing for one of them, for one of the women. Thought she was very attractive and whatnot. And so the actor that plays Mary would always mess with him and like commenting like, "Oh man, look at him hitting on a man over there," type of deal.
That's funny.
uh, yeah, but yeah, like I said, a lot of the Riders of Rohan that you see in this movie and in the third movie, are actually women dressed up and given fake beards and all that kind of stuff because they couldn't find enough men to fill for like extras and whatnot.
I see. But anyway, Éomer asks their business. Things get a bit hostile, like it always seems to, before Aragorn introduces them and says that they are friends of Rohan.
Yeah, and
Am-
you can't really blame Aramir though, because Rohan's at war with
Yeah, you never
Iceborough
know.
right now.
And he actually points out later on, here in a little bit, that he's like, there's spies everywhere. He can't trust anyone, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If he doesn't know you, he's instantly approaching you on edge.
Yeah.
Like he's not gonna approach a stranger with like an open mind. It's like, I don't know you. You are potentially a spy from the enemy. Type of approach to as right now with them being at war and all the stuff that comes with being at war.
Right. But Éomer says that their king Theoden no longer recognizes friend from foe, not even his own kin. Then Aragorn says their intent, says that they're tracking a party of Uruk Hai with the two hobbits. Éomer responds, saying that they killed everyone in that party last night. They piled the carcasses and they burned them. Éomer
Yeah.
apologizes and gives them 2 horses, kind of as a like, I'm sorry, like we left none alive.
Yeah.
Here's these guys. So yeah, he does leave them saying, search for your friends, but do not rely on hope. Basically being like, go
Yeah.
check, search for them, but don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are upset. Like just they're getting news that 2 of their friends are dead.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are they dead, they're getting the news from, as far as they know, the person that led the attack that killed them.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like, I think they are wise enough to understand that, like, Éomer didn't lead his troops in there to kill the hobbits. They didn't even know they were there. Like they're not gonna blame him for it, type
Mm-hmm.
of deal, But like, obviously they're upset about it. But as he gives them the 2 horses, Éomer, gets back on his horse to ride away. And if you look closely, and you have to like really look closely, as Éomer is getting back on his horse, his sword falls out of its scabbard. His sword falls out of its scabbard. Like, and like, obviously this is unintentional when they're shooting the movie, but it falls out, and I think Viggo Mortensen almost tripped over it while they were filming. And so they just continue the scene, and we see, the Riders of Rohan ride off, but yeah, as they were filming, his sword falls out as he gets back on his horse, and Viggo Mortensen almost trips over the thing.
But
yeah, the riders take off, leaving the party of 3 here with the 2 horses.
Mm-hmm. And Aragorn and company ride and end up seeing a pile of corpses. We do see off to their left, our right of it, one Uruk's head is just stuck on a stick.
Gimli, like the whole medieval head on a pike type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Gimli finds one of the hobbits' belts, says they used to wear it, or they would wear this, and Aragorn kicks a helmet away and just screams.
When Aragorn kicks that helmet away,
I remember you telling me about this. You told me about this, yes. So
as they were filming, Viggo Mortensen was told, kick the helmet like you're frustrated, and give out a yell of anger, right? And so he does it, and they're like, "Nah, I don't think that's the one we're looking for. Let's do it again." Does it again. Well, a little better of a yell of anger. They're like, "No, I think we can do better." They shoot it again, 3rd time. Does it again. Almost there, not quite. Let's do it one more time. And he kicks it, and we get the yell that he gives in the movie. And they're like, that is perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. Come to find out, when Viggo Mortensen kicked that helmet, because it's metal, he broke his big toe when he kicked the helmet. And so when he yelled, it was not an acting yell. That was him yelling in pain as he broke his toe. Oh God, that's crazy. I remember hearing that though. That's funny and cool, but holy cow. And so at this point in filming now, right? You have the actor playing Gimli with a dislocated knee. Yeah, everybody's injured. You have Orlando Bloom with either broken or bruised / fractured, whatever, with his ribs. And now Viggo Mortensen with a broken toe. And they just kept on filming. Like, the actors were like, let's get it done. Let's keep going. Let's get this movie finished. Jeez. Well, right here, I have picked to be a sponsor break. We do have 2 today. One of which is our normal one, but we actually have a new ad read that I've got something I need to do here. Oh, boy. Oh, God bless America. So this sponsor is our sponsor is this following for today. Introducing new to Middle Earth, Rohan Senior Care.
For years, when our residents got old, we would just throw them in a pile and burn them. We didn't even wait for them to kick the helm. Under recent guidance from the Middle-earth Senior Quality of Living Improvement Board, we have established this institution. We raise our seniors above everyone else, even letting them pretend that they're still fit to be king. For questions, please direct your letters to Rohan Senior Care. If you want to stop in for a tour, we are located just down the Fords of Isen, past Edoras a ways. Rohan Senior Care. So yeah, thanks for the,
Nice.
money.
Nice. Yeah, all that money that we're getting from that ad.
Yep. So, as they're in this area, Aragorn notices an area on the ground where he says that Merry and Pippin moved, or a hobbit lied here, I think he said. And apparently they were able to escape and run, and they start tracking Merry and Pippin through different signs on the ground, and we see flashbacks, and it's kind of like correlating to exactly what they did, and we see how they escaped the group before they were all slaughtered.
Yeah, and Aragorn specifically is the one doing the tracking, and that just comes back to his ranger background.
Yep.
That's part of being a Dunedain ranger, which he is. That's just his background, tracking through the woods and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're getting the flashbacks as we see, the orcs and Uruk Hai trying to fight the Rohan riders, kind of jumping back and forth between Merry and Pippin, and then Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, until we see them come to the edge of Fangorn Forest. And Gimli even comments, like, what madness drove them in there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, even showing that Gimli, who came from Erebor, right, way farther to the east, has even heard stories about Fangorn.
Yeah. Now, really quick, I do want to back up. I'm going to pull a U because I didn't really realize that we didn't really clarify. When we were back and we saw Éomer with a group of riders, you may be questioning, like, wait a minute, didn't he get banished? Why are these guys with him then? And they're basically ones that were followers of him and his, and I think went with him when he was banished, right?
Partially. Some, yes. But a lot of them as well are people who were banished as well.
Oh, okay.
Because basically what happens is when Éomer is banished, anyone that speaks out against his banishment, gets banished as well. So it's like, oh, you want to say that he was a good guy and that we did this for no reason? All right, bye. Oh, you want to say that was bullcrap that we banished him? Okay, bye. Oh, you don't like that we banished him? Okay, bye. And on a very large scale across Rohan, this happens. So like anyone that has any sympathy towards Éomer, any feelings of that's not right, gets banished.
Yeah. Okay.
And then at this point, Éomer is traveling across Rohan, still trying to protect it, trying to protect his country. Even though he's been banished, he's still trying to protect Rohan, and do his duties as the Marshal of Rohan.
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to back up to clarify that.
That's a fair point to make, because I mean it jumps from him getting banished to us seeing him with some riders, and it's like, okay, well, how did, what happened? How, what? Doesn't really explain what's going on there. And some of it's people that are banished, and some of them are people that are just loyal to Éomer. Yeah. Like when he got banished, they're like, we're not sticking around, we're going with him, type of deal.
Right. We then pan into the forest, though, and we see Merry and Pippin running. An orc is still chasing them. They run, hiding behind trees. And so this is not
flashbacks anymore. This is present time, just to clarify. Because it was giving us a little bit of flashback to see what they were doing. This is back to present time. They're getting chased by an orc, Grishnak, for anyone that wants the name. It's still Grishnak, that disgusting thing that has a weird mole thing on his face. I don't know if you pick that out, but it really bothered me whenever I see it.
Yeah, he looked like a Squidward.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we see them, running from it. They think that they've escaped the orc, but because they climb up a tree. They think they've escaped him, and he jumps up and pulls Merry down. And as Pippin holds on to the tree, kind of like, oh no, like he's just noticing what's going on. An eye opens on the tree, and a tree person kind of thing emerges and steps on, what was his name? Grishnak. Steps on him, killing him, and then picks up Merry. And so he's got Merry and Pippin both in his hands, and he just kind of starts walking. He says that he is an Ent, a shepherd of the forest, which we kind of gather through Merry and Pippin saying as well. Merry, specifically.
And so this is the Ents, like him, like Treebeard. So he gives them his name.
He does. He introduces himself as Treebeard. Says that most people refer to him as that.
Yeah. They are an ancient race within Middle Earth. And as we learn a little later in the movie, with interactions between Merry and Pippin and Treebeard, you had the Ents, and then you had the Ent wives. So like the male and female of their species. And basically the Ents a long time ago roamed far and wide in different forests and whatnot, and kind of kept the trees under control, because the trees are actually alive, like they can move type of deal within Middle Earth a long time ago, right? And so the Ents were the ones that kind of kept them in their place. Like, this is where the forest is. Trees stop going that way. No, you're not allowed to spread out. That type of thing. Like kind of like herding cattle, or like like a sheepdog herding sheep type of deal.
Yeah, they're shepherds of the forest. Yeah.
But throughout the years and the ages and whatnot, and the different wars with Sauron and all that kind of stuff, the Ents get dwindled down to not very many of them being left. And again, as we learn a little later in the film, the Ent wives are lost. They disappeared. We don't know what happened to them. I have not found anything that actually says what happens to the Ent wives. So basically, the females of this race just disappear for whatever reason. And so that leaves the Ents to slowly dwindle down, since they can't reproduce. And the Ents they move to Fangorn however long ago and consolidate there.
Gotcha. Treebeard says, though, that he is on nobody's side, as no one is on his. No one cares for the woods anymore. He keeps referring to Merry and Pippin as little orcs.
Yeah.
They say that they are hobbits, and he says he's never heard of a hobbit. He says that it sounds like orc mischief. He then gets angry and kind of starts squeezing them a little bit. They're getting a little nervous. They're screaming, kind of like, ow, 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 And Treebeard says, they plead their case first, and they're like, we're hobbits, halflings, like we're. And Treebeard says, he's like, well, maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but the White Wizard will know. Well, and so they look at him like, White Wizard, Saruman.
Even as like they're kind of pleading their case, we definitely get the feeling that Treebeard has encountered orcs many times before. Because they say like, we're hobbits, halflings, and he's like, sounds like orc mischief to me. They come with axes, gnawing, biting, breaking, hacking, burning. And like, even on the look on his face, like it's a freaking tree, but you can still like tell like on his face, like he's getting furious as he's talking about it. So like, it just kind of gives that feel that like Treebeard has encountered orcs before, and he is not a fan.
Yeah. But he says that only the White Wizard will know. They kind of look like, Saruman, White Wizard. And he then drops them off in front of a glowing white-haired figure. This is where I have made the note to stop. Originally, I didn't, but seeing where we're at right now, I think that maybe is a good point, because after this, things kind of pick up. We find out some things that's like, I don't really want to end there. And so I think this is probably a good spot.
And I mean, just kind of final thoughts for this episode too, right before we get into that. Because I mean, again, if you were to look at a map of Middle Earth, Fangorn is right there on the edge of Isengard. And so, like, it would make sense for, the White Wizard to be there. He's close. Fangorn is literally right on the border of Isengard. Like, the trees of Fangorn come up to the walls of Isengard. So, like, and, like, Merry and Pippin know, too. Like, they know they're close to Isengard. They're not dumb. So, like, and they hear the White Wizard will know. Like, well, shoot. Is he in league with Saruman? Oh, crap.
Yeah.
And then he, dumps him down in front of, like you said, a white figure. We get a little glimpse of, like, the back of his head. White robes, white hair, kind of a glow to him. But then it does cut to the next scene. But we'll, like, as you said, end this episode here.
Yep.
For our part 1 of breaking down the Lord of the Rings Two Towers.
Yep. We will resume this conversation next week, and finish out my notes of the Two Towers, but at least the first hour of the movie. I've got probably about 3 more pages of notes, so given that we're about an hour 45 in, I think this is probably a good place to go ahead and end, so that we don't just rattle on for too long, or need to make
about 42 minutes into the film as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, as usual, just keep the downloads coming. We try to get out a blooper reel every 1,000 downloads, and I think that it'd be fun to do another one. So please keep listening. We've also decided about a live stream. We don't know any of the specifics of it. We don't know where we'll host it or anything, but we would like that interaction with you guys in live, questions and all that stuff. Evan, a little bit more about that.
Yep, as usual, every 25 Apple reviews will give us that live stream.
Yep.
And again, like I've said before, that's on you guys. If you're enjoying the podcast, go leave a review. Tell your friends and whatnot, and they can do the same to get us to that goal. So we can do that. And like Jacob said, we don't have specifics on it because we haven't gotten to that goal yet.
Right.
But it will be over whatever, episodes or part of a film that we're covering at said time. So, yeah.
Yep. Other than that, Patreon. We do have that now. So if you guys want to pledge monthly donation, we will, depending on the tier that you choose, we will, reward that with early access and uncensored content. We also generally have a hard time starting the episode because we talk and are stupid. So that's just another uncensored kind of fun piece. You can kind of see the pre-show.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff now. Yeah.
But no, we have 2 levels for Patreon, yeah?
Yep. We got
$5 and then $7.
And $7, correct. $5.
Go into specifics of
sure. I mean,
what you get in each of the 2 tiers.
Literally all it is, $5 is early access. So as soon as I get it uploaded or edited, I upload it there. So if we're weeks in advance to the scheduled, because our upload schedule is Monday is Star Wars, and Thursdays are Lord of the Rings or whatever else we're covering, which eventually will be not Lord of the Rings, but as of right now, Lord of the Rings. So whenever we record it, I set it up to the following or the next free day in advance. So I schedule it, but then I can upload it to Patreon, and I have been doing that. So you guys can access it early, up to a couple weeks, depending on how proactive we are at actually getting recorded.
Depending on how far ahead of schedule we are.
Right. But both tiers have
sorry.
access to early access, and that's what that is. But then the $7 a month is uncensored. Mostly uncensored, I will say. Swear words, completely, it's like every outtake, given that there's some words we don't want on recording, let's just say that. But
yeah, like
yeah. And if you're listening, what?
I said like
yeah. I'll jot down that time. Incentive. You guys can figure out what Evan said.
But yeah, so $7 will be early access.
Correct,
and for the most part, uncensored content. There's, one or two select words that if we were to say would still be censored there, but we don't even go that far.
Were you saying that you think that uncensored would be censored?
Well, I mean, potentially. No, yeah, no? Obviously, duh. That's so rude.
No. Dude, no, I leave in everything. I'm talking about like
but as of right now, though, we are several weeks ahead of schedule. So if you were to go and do a monthly subscription through Patreon, you could get content several weeks in advance. So that's just content getting to you guys faster.
Yep.
And I would like to say, because we do have 2 patrons right now, I'm not going to drop names because I don't know how they feel about that, but thank you guys, both of you.
Yeah,
we
very
really
much.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what else to say.
I don't either.
But yeah, thank you.
Yep. So in summary, downloads for Blooper Reel.
I'm quitting 25. My job now because we have patrons. 1,000 downloads, blooper reel, 25 Apple review.
There we go.
Live streams, links for all of our other stuff, ways to get a hold of us will be in the description. Because Jacob has one link to send you to the rest of the links.
Yep.
But I mean, other than that, unless you have anything else, Jacob,
I do not.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace out.
Peace.
Deuces.